Send the guests.
Roger that.
All set for a nice aerial adventure, pilot? Today, you're flying with someone who works nearby, Michael, over our very own region. He's got his sister with him. Seatbelt fastened? Then you're all set. Let's go, Captain.
Tree Sierra, Quebec traffic. Cessna November 83604 is taxiing to runway 9er, Tree Sierra, Quebec.
Hi, thanks for taking us aboard. I'm Michael. I'm thrilled to fly over Hazelwood with you. Our parents live in the area, so this flight feels like a trip back to our childhood, you know.
Hey, I'm Lisa, Michael's sister. Pleasure to meet you.
Tree Sierra, Quebec traffic. Cessna November 83604. Taking off runway 9er. Departure to the south, Tree Sierra, Quebec.
Here we are. Here we are. David was right. I don't feel afraid or dizzy. Our pilot is treating us right. This is an amazing experience.
I'm glad the flight's everything you hoped for. I'll give you some space to enjoy it.
Relax, Michael. You're gripping the seat so hard you're going to break your hand. Remember this spot, bro? This is where you fell and messed up your new shoes. Mom was so mad at you.
Good old times.
You okay? Not scared?
I'm too excited to be scared. People are looking up at us. Hey, hello everyone.
Angle.
If we were higher up, we'd have a wider point of view. Just saying. Hey Lisa, you've been kinda quiet. You okay?
Tree Sierra, Quebec traffic. Cessna November 83604. 6 miles southeast, 1700 inbound to land. Runway 9er, Tree Sierra, Quebec.
I'm glad we took this flight. We can even teach others how to talk like ATC. Just kidding. It must take years to master.
When we took off, I thought there should have been a drum roll or something.
Back to
We'll get
reality,
someone
folks.
to land.
Hey, did you enjoy it, Michael?
What are your thoughts?
Ready for your next flight?
Great flight over my beloved Hazelwood. Let's do it again.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Hey, it's shaking.
Tree Sierra, Quebec traffic. Cessna November 83604 is on final. Runway 9er. To land, Tree Sierra, Quebec.
Stall.
Wow, that gave me some serious chills.
aren't fully satisfied, but I know you'll dig deep and make the necessary improvements.
Nice work completing your first mission. Continue building your flight hours by completing more missions, and you'll be ready. Flight missions available right now. Take your pick which one you want to tackle next.
Ready for boarding, Jennifer.
Well noted.
Looks like a perfect day for flying, Captain. Your guest today is Michael. Fiancé with him. He lived in the region for a while. Seat belt fastened? Then you're all set. Let's do it.
Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar traffic. Cessna November Tree wife is taxiing to runway tree 6, Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar.
Hi, Captain. I'm Michael. Can't wait to be looking down at my hometown.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I can't believe we'll be. Wait.
Ready for boarding, Jennifer.
Noted.
Your guest today is. He's got his fiancé with him. He lives around and has been dreaming of exploring everything for a while. Seat belt fastened? Then you're all set. Let's do it.
Lima Oscar traffic. Cessna November Tree 1575 is taxiing to runway tree 6, Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar.
Captain, I'm Michael. Can't be looking down at my hometown.
Hi, I'm Jessica, Michael's fiance. I can't believe we'll be up there in a few minutes. Can't wait.
Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar traffic. Cessna November Tree 1 Taking off runway tree 6, west departure, Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar.
It's stunning, isn't it? Expect it to be so overwhelming.
Relax, Michael. You're gripping the seat so hard. Your hand.
Hey, it's shaking. Look down there. I believe that's the spot where I loved when I was young.
Of course I remember.
It must be incredibly beloved place at sunset.
Is there?
Thanks, Chris. We're having a blast.
Good. I'll leave it to you then. Enjoy the flight.
You okay? Not scared?
I'm too excited to be scared. probably thinking they've got the best view. If only they knew. Viv is everything. Hey, now the town. Never expected to see all this.
It's amazing. I recognize.
No way! I can see our childhood school. That's awesome.
Sure. Too vested.
Here, check this out. You can see every detail.
Stall. Stall. Stall.
When we took off, I thought there should have been a drum roll or something.
Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar traffic. Cessna November tree 1575. 1300, inbound to land. Runway tree 6, Kilo Lima Oscar.
Nice to have your feet on the ground, but the view's better with your head in the clouds.
back, aviators. Are you okay, Michael? Ready to give it a go again?
Totally doing it again. Sign me up.
What an amazing ride. Loved it.
What's with the turbulence? Should I be worried?
500. Stall.
Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar traffic. Cessna November tree 1575 is on final. Runway tree 6 to land. Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar.
Stall.
Welcome back, aviators. Are you okay, Michael? Ready to give it a go again?
Don't sink. Don't sink.
Sign me up.
Don't sink.
What
Don't
an
sink.
amazing ride.
Don't sink.
Loved it.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar traffic. Cessna November tree 1575 is on final. Runway tree 6 to land. Kilo Sierra Lima Oscar.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Wow, that gave me some serious chills.
I believe you've got what it takes to bounce back and make it right. I'm sure our guests had a thrill over their home region.
You've built up enough flight hours to be eligible to take your CPO. If you pass your CPL, you can begin to get paid for successful missions.
Welcome to the beginning of your rotorcraft journey and our first helicopter lesson, flight instructor. I must say, it is a very beautiful time of the year to begin your helicopter trainings at Grenoble Lou Versailles. Back outside to continue our training here. You already know how the flight control surfaces of airplanes work, right? But do you understand how a helicopter turns without ailerons and speed? Here, look at the Cabre's main rotor. This is our main controls. By tilting the main rotor disc back or right, we can change the direction of the thrust vector and move in a chosen direction. As with most French-designed helicopters, the main rotor blades advance in a clockwise direction. What do you think we need the tail rotor for? Walk close. Thrust. We can control the direction that the nose of the helicopter points. The Cabre G2 differs from a conventional open tail rotor by being integrally housed within the tail boom. Now, let's continue our training inside the cockpit. Get in and buckle up. Welcome aboard. Don't be surprised that you're sitting on the right side. Unlike in airplanes, pilots typically sit on the right seat in helicopters. Now, let's make you familiar with the Cabre's flight controls. Look here, this is what we call the collective lever, or simply collective. We use collective to climb or descend, or in other words, to control our vertical speed. Try raising it up and lowering it down. Make sure to leave it in the most downward position. Here's what we call the cyclic stick, or just cyclic. It looks similar to the airplane's stick, doesn't it? And behaves very similarly, too, at least in a forward flight. Left or right inputs cause the helicopter to roll into a turn, and forward and back inputs change the pitch attitude. Try moving it left and right, forward and aft. On the top of the cyclic stick, you can see a cyclic trim knob. The Cabre uses a dual-axis electric trim, allowing you to completely release static forces in flight, both longitudinal and lateral. Try pushing the knob left and right, forward and aft. And finally, the anti-torque pedals, located in the same place as the rudder pedals in an airplane. They serve a similar purpose, controlling the direction that the nose of the aircraft points. In a hover flight, they help you to control yaw and heading, but in forward flight, they serve the same purpose as in airplanes, adjusting the side slip angle. Try pushing the left and right pedals one after the other and look at them in the process. Sounds pretty easy so far, isn't it? Let's have a look at the instrument panel. I'm sure you've already spotted what we call the six-pack. 6 primary instruments all airplanes also have. Look at the altimeter, for instance. As you see, the ground elevation here is around 720 feet. An interesting fact related to altitudes. In forward flight, a helicopter can fly much higher than when it's hovering. After our hovering training, you will understand why it's like that. Now look at the airspeed indicator. What can we learn just by looking at it? You can see from 20 knots. The caution range lasts up to 45 knots and never exceed 130 knots airspeed. Why should we be cautious when flying slow? I will show why in our next training. Now, would you please look at the vertical speed indicator? It is very important to monitor VSI, especially on descent. If you descend faster than 300 feet per minute at low airspeed, you may settle your helicopter into its own downwash. This is called a vortex ring state, and it is an emergency situation you will eventually learn to deal with. But for now, simply get used to monitoring your VSI, just like you monitor altitude, airspeed, and engine parameters. Another thing to remember while flying is to keep the fuselage in the correct, streamlined position. For that, we monitor the turn coordinator ball just like we do in airplanes. Or the more sensitive indicator, the yaw string, just like we do in gliders. The ball and the yaw string should be kept in the center. We won't use other classic instruments much in our trainings, because we will mostly fly by visual references. However, you do need to know about the EPM, which stands for Electronic Pilot Monitor. Let's start the engine and avionics to see it running. Great. Now you see the Electronic Pilot Monitor running. EPM combines all common motor and rotor monitoring instruments on a single LCD screen, as well as the in-flight fuel management. The thing we're most interested in is the Smart Power Indicator. Have a closer look at it. It is called the MLI, which stands for Multiple Limit Indicator. It is a special feature of the Cabri G2. A red line shows the available performance and limits at a glance. We will refer to the power indications a lot in our trainings. Okay, enough talking. Time to get up in the air and fly. In our next training, you will have your first taste of piloting a Cabri G2. Here we are, flying along the Grésivaudan Valley in the French Alps. Look around while I'm piloting. On your left-hand side, you can see the Belladon mountain range. And on your right-hand side, there are the Chartreuse Mountains. Beautiful, aren't they? On the count of 3, I will give you control of the helicopter. Prepare to slightly push cyclic forward to maintain the attitude. 3, 2, 1. It's yours now. Using the cyclic, keep the helicopter in a straight and level flight along the Isar River you can see below. I will take care of the collective control and maintaining the altitude, so you can focus on our speed and ground track. Reach cruise speed of 80 knots. Push the cyclic to speed up, or pull the cyclic to slow down. Let's try some turns now. You see the river is turning right? Try to fly above the river and turn right together with its curve. sharp left turn following the river line. But to make the turn coordinated, don't forget to use pedals to avoid any slip and skid, just like in airplanes. Now you see how little pressure on the controls you need to control a helicopter. Let's do something you never do in airplanes. You are leaving our training area. Head back to continue our training. Let's bring our airspeed to 0 knots. Gently pull the cyclic back until you reach 0 knots. This is called hovering out of ground effect. Feels interesting for airplane pilots, doesn't it? Keep the cyclic back to maintain 0 knots airspeed. Now try to use your trim to move the neutral position of your cyclic. You can trim the helicopter when you hover, when you climb, or when you're on cruise. This releases the forces on the stick and lets you better feel the controls. Nice. But just when you thought flying helicopters is all easy, I want to admit that currently I'm helping you stabilize our helicopter. You see, since we slowed down, the airflow over the tail is not enough to counteract the helicopter's rotating cycling a little to stabilize the flight. Let me show you what happens when I Okay, I'm assisting you again. Don't let these rotating tendencies scare you. It is a fun challenge in no time during our next trainings. As for our today's lesson, practice maintaining the crew. I would recommend reviewing your old airplane trainings related to activity. To hover in ground effect means to maintain a constant position a few feet above the ground. It is not as easy as it sounds. In fact, hovering a helicopter is challenging, a bit like trying to pat your head and rub your stomach at the same time. A helicopter has 3 highly sensitive controls, but at first I will be giving you only one control at a time to handle. Your first control to master will be the collective lever. Remember, it is located on the left side. The collective controls your height above the ground. We will use it to take off to a hover. When you raise the collective control, the pitch angles of the main rotor blades increase. This increases lift and the helicopter climbs. When you lower the collective, pitch angles decrease. This decreases lift so the helicopter descends. Easy, right? Another thing we will need today is the EPM, which stands for Electronic Pilot Monitor. You might remember it from our previous lesson. Today you will learn monitoring power percentage with a multiple limit indicator. The most important thing to remember about power indications is to never go over 100%. You can read more about that subject in the briefing notes. Okay, enough lecturing. Time to fly. Before taking off, always check that all gauges are green and that we have enough fuel. This is more than enough for our training. Now look left and right to make sure we don't have vehicles approaching. All good, and we are clear to go. You have collective control now. Slowly raise it to the point where we become light on skids. This will be around 65% of available power. Be careful. First you won't see any reaction to your movement, but power will catch up soon. That was a little too strong. Remember, the collective is sensitive and power changes have some inertia. Was a little too strong. Remember, the collective is sensitive and power changes have some inertia. That was a little too strong. Remember, the collective is sensitive and power changes have some inertia. That was a little too strong. Remember, the collective is sensitive and power changes have some inertia. Too strong. Collective is sensitive and power changes have some inertia. Now, move the collective just a little more to get to 2 feet altitude hover. And don't mind us, we'll take care of that. That was too hard of an impact. Let's make another attempt. You have collective control now. Slowly raise it to the point where we become light on skids. This will be around 60. Be careful. First you won't see any reaction. Too strong. The collective is sensitive and power changes. Altitude hover. And don't mind us, that will take care of that. Let's make another attempt. collective control now. Slowly raise it to the point where we become light on skids. This will be your power. Be careful. First you won't see any reaction to your movement, but power will catch up soon. Now, move the collective just a little more to get to 2 feet altitude hover. And don't mind us moving laterally. Today I will take care of that. Keep hovering at 2 feet now. You're lower than 2 feet now. Left a little bit. You see, since we are hovering so low, the altimeter will be not useful. Judge your altitude just by looking outside. You're higher than 2 feet now. Lower the collective a little. 2 feet is approximately 1/3 of the length of Calvary skid. You're lower than 2 feet now. Raise the collective a little bit. You're higher than 2 feet now. Lower the collective a little. You're higher than 2 feet now. Lower the collective. You are higher than 2 feet now. Lower the collective a little. Remember, the main trick of the hovering challenge is to move the controls as gently as possible. When you find a proper collective position, you don't need to keep adjusting it, given that we're not moving and there's no wind like today. Look around and memorize how 2 feet of altitude looks. looks. Also, look at the power indications and memorize the amount of power required for hovering and ground effect. And it depends on lots of factors, such as our weight and the weather. But you may find it useful to remember this number for our training today. Now let's see how little you should increase power to hover at 8 feet altitude. Gently raise the collective just enough to get to 8 feet altitude and stop there. Great. You are getting more and more confident with collective control. Keep hovering at 8 feet while I'm talking. Look around and try to remember how 8 feet altitude looks like. It is an important altitude. You should avoid climbing higher when you are in ground proximity. More in our trainings. For now, just remember, if you're quits when you're higher than 8 feet and you don't have enough airspeed, you won't be able to land safely. So, whenever you hover stationary in ground proximity or hover taxi, stay below 8 feet and you'll be safe. Now let's go back to a 2-foot hover. Still remember power indications to aim for. There you are. I can see that now you understand the inertia of the collective lever much better. Our last objective for this training session is landing from hover. Remember to always stabilize your hover at 2 feet altitude before touching the ground. Now, very gently lower the collective control. Congratulations. You just did your first landing. You mastered collective in hovering flight pretty well. Time to start mastering anti-torque pedals now. Welcome to the second part of our hovering training series, familiar with anti-torque pedals. I will be helping you at first, but by the end of this training session, you will be in full control over our heading. Let's start with taking off to a hover. You already know how to do that. Before raising collective, always check that all gauges are green, we have enough fuel, and there are no obstacles nearby. All good. You have collective control now. Gently raise it, get light on the skids first, and only then take off to a 2-foot hover. There you go. Nice to see you're getting more and more control. Stabilize your hover at 2. Let's move on to the anti-torque pedals now. Look, they're located in the same position. Helicopters, it happens due to increasing or reducing the thrust produced by the tail rotor. Try to gently apply pedals one after the other, and you will see how the nose yaws in the direction of the applied pedal. Easy, isn't it? Now turn toward the side. Apply the right pedal to start and the left one to stop at the required heading. Pretty good. When making pivoting turns, try to make one smooth movement and then stop exactly at the desired heading. Now, turn 90 degrees left, back to our original heading toward the runway and away from the hangars. Easy, right? Keep in mind, use pedals to make turns like that only when hovering. Turn. In cruise, we change the direction of flight. Pedals are used only for adjusting the side slipping, like an airplane. By the way, remember our briefing? There is a effect caused by our rotor rotating clockwise, and we use pedals to eliminate this rotating tendency until assisting you with the anti-torque control. Changing without additional stress of fighting the torque. It is time for you to have full pedal control. On the count of 3, I will stop assisting you with it. Remember, our rotor rotates clockwise, which means that we will immediately turn our nose left. We'll have to press the ready? You'll be given full pedal control in 3, 2, 1, heading away. Finding a good position for the pedals, which counteracts the torque. You're doing good. Now let's turn 90 degrees left toward the edge of the trees inside. Yes, the helicopter will try to turn their right pressure. Small, gentle pedals movements try to nose heading toward the edge of the trees. You're getting better and better. Now slowly turn right all the way to the helicopter parking. Let's turn 90 degrees left, back to our original heading toward the runway. Super. Now you know how to change and maintain heading with anti-torque pedals, as well as how to counteract the torque. I will now perform a little more advanced landing on this time. You will have control of both collective and pedals at the same time. First, fully stable hover at 2 feet altitude. Carefully maintain your heading toward the runway. Always make sure you don't have any movement or yelling before you touch the ground. Now, gently lower the collective control until you find yourself firmly on the ground. Congratulations. You landed while having full control. Way to go. Today you mastered anti-torque pedals. See you in our next training session dedicated to cyclic control. Welcome to the third part of the series. In this training session, you will get familiar with cyclic control, and you will learn to counteract. Remember this term from our briefing? Let's start with taking off to a hover. All gauges are green. We have enough fuel, no obstacles around. Let's go. Slowly raise the collective, get light on the skids, and take off to a 2-foot hover. Stabilize your hover at 2 feet altitude. Here we are. I am now helping you with anti-torque pedal control. This will help you to fully concentrate on the cyclic stick in this lesson. Look there. The cyclic stick is located between the pilot's legs and looks similar to a joystick or an airplane. By moving the cyclic forward, backward, right, or left, we tilt the main rotor disc and it shows chosen direction and subsequently move there. We also use cyclic to counteract left drift caused by translating tendency. You don't feel the drift now because I'm helping you fight it. I will let you master hovering movements first before you face the drift. Now use pedals and turn the nose of the helicopter to the helicopter parking on your right-hand side. Use the cyclic forward to get our helicopter moving, establish a walking pace over the ground. The trick here is to move very slowly with the speed of a brisk walk. Gently pull the cyclic back to stop above the center of the heli parking. Good. Don't let the cyclic go. Keep making tiny corrections to maintain position over the center of the parking. Now, we'll make a pedal turn 90 degrees toward the runway again. Now make a sideward movement back to our original parking. Keep pointing the helicopter